Awesome. See, it was a setup to begin with, so that way you have to stay here. You got no reason to run out of here, because this one we haven't talked for a while, so we need to catch up, huh? So first off, I want to give my condolences to Michael Lev. Losing a parent is never easy, and for him to know that we support him and our condolences and prayers are out for him and his heart, and we're praying for his heart to heal. Mom's in a better place. And it's consoling to the heart. I lost my mom in 2019, so I know what he's going through. It's never easy to lose a parent, but just prayers and blessings to him. Second, it's exciting to be back. I mean, congratulations to all the athletic teams at Arizona. I mean, what a run by our basketball team. And I want to say thank you to Desiree for including some of the football staff, having the opportunity to go. My family went to San Diego. I took a lot of grief because my entire family didn't go to San Jose, but I did. And my daughter reminds me every day about her not being I tried to buy her an Elite 8 shirt. She's like, why? I didn't go. Which is awesome because they wanted to be there. And then we had the opportunity to go to the Final Four. What a blessing. And, for a long time, I've been strong on saying we're going to make this statement that, this is Arizona football, from a great disappointment to excitement. And the amount of people after the basketball game, which was heartbreaking, they just happened to play a Michigan team that got hot at the right moment, and they didn't play as up to their best game, which happens. But everybody, as we were leaving that stadium, was talking about Coach's football season, which is exciting. I mean, we created some magic that they created here before, and now everybody's excited. And the challenge to that is we have a good football team coming back. How do we not let that football team think that it's going to be easy? Because nothing in life that ever comes easy is good or worth it. And so that's been the biggest challenge, because we've got a very confident group, but we have to maintain and keep them from getting arrogant and being arrogant. We've got the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion, coming back. First team all Big 12 quarterback, which is fantastic. And as good a quarterback as Noah Fafita is, he's an even greater person. And to have him leading our football team, I think he's the most important person in this building, because coaches don't play. Players play. Players win games. And we have some elite players like Noah that have the ability to do that. Okay? This is going to be Team 123. What a great opportunity. And there's two words that really stink in if you keep hearing your name associated with it. It's opportunity and potential. If somebody keeps telling you have potential, that means you haven't been doing what they think you can do. And we have a great opportunity, but don't waste the opportunity. We had an opportunity against BYU with 1:07 left to recover a fumble that when I sat up here in August and said we're playing for an opportunity to go to the CFP, and everybody thought I was out of my mind, we're one fumble recovery away from playing in the conference championship again against Texas Tech, and I can't wait till Halloween. Okay? If you go back all the way to 1899, team number 1 at Arizona football. Okay? Similarities between team number 1 and team 123. Okay? Team number 1 had 17 players. 6 of them were from high school at that time, trying to create a football team. They had to go out in the local community and fundraise to get uniforms. Okay? It's pretty simple with what Team 123 is going to have to do, because now we get to put patches and logos and go out and ask people to give us money to put stuff on our uniforms. So we're trying to do the same thing that team number 1 did in garnering some money. Now, our money's going to be used a little bit different. We don't have to raise money for helmets. Neither did they, because they didn't wear them. How about that? First football team didn't wear helmets. They stuffed, if you read on our board in the facility, it talks about 1899 and team number 1. They used T-shirts underneath their shirts for shoulder pads. Okay? And it was a violent game back then because they didn't really know the rules. Half of them didn't even know what football was. And they didn't really throw the ball, so it was, talk about loving the violence of the game of football. How fun is that? Okay? So now we've got to create the debate. The 93 team, which was better, 93 or 98? The great debate. Okay? And Brandon Sanders is in our building. He swears it was 93. Okay? Dennis Northcutt was there today. Dennis Northcutt believes it was 98. The 93 team, statistically, I mean, one, they beat Miami 29-0 in the Fiesta Bowl. And the comparison to the 93 team and the 94 basketball team, which lost to Arkansas in the Final Four, those two teams played in January and April. 98 did not happen. But in 2026, 2025 season, football team played in January, basketball team played in the Final Four. We want to end that debate. We want Team 123 to be the best team there's ever been at the University of Arizona. And you don't have to have the most talent to do that. You have to have enough talent. Well, we have the best quarterback in the history of this program. Now, he's 4 wins away from being the winningest quarterback in the history of this program. Any of you 4 tell me who the winningest quarterback is of all time?
It's not Foles.
Nope. That one, as much as I love Nick Foles, not close.
Is it Dan White?
Nope.
Like Ted Bland?
You guys ain't gonna, you'll never guess this. It's a young man by the name of Alfred Jenkins. Played from 83 to 86. Won 24 games. It's the winningest quarterback in Arizona history. Noah's at 20. So Noah should pass that some way through midseason. Okay? If we win every single game, he'll pass it after week 5. He's going to have every categorical statistical record at the University of Arizona. And the best part of Noah Fafita, he chose Arizona. He chose to be at the University of Arizona when everything in the world and everybody outside of his family was telling him there's bigger and better. And he didn't believe it. And so now we owe it to him as a football program to surround him with pieces, which I think we have because Coach Dagey and the offensive staff has done a phenomenal job, and then be good on defense and give that young man a chance to leave his legacy as a quarterback that played in the CFP and see what happens from there. That's as exciting, and then the opportunity to end the debate on who the greatest team is in Arizona football history. Okay? Big talk. I stood up here last March and said we were going to be a top 15 defense. We have the pieces to be better on defense than we were last year if Chip and Ars can work their magic and coach the guys that we recruited in the secondary, because we got a ton of speed and we have a chance to be really good up front. Let's talk about the big 3 and all the things that they've done. And everybody was upset that they didn't play in San Diego. And once again, for all those people that are upset, I apologize that we didn't tell them early. I still think, in my opinion, it was the right choice. And I am super grateful to every single fan that made the trek down I-8 through Yuma up to San Diego, or across the 10 down through Barstow, to get to San Diego to watch us play against SMU in a January football game, because we want the city of Tucson to be all in no matter who's on the football field. Because I promise you this, if I'd have sat up here in August or last March and said in the last 4 games of the season, we're not going to have Trey Smith, we're not going to have Tia Savea, Genesis Smith, who played with a broken foot from Oklahoma State on, y'all would have thought I was crazy if we'd have said we'd have won the last 5 football games and had a chance to finish in the top 25. We were going to be ranked in 17th in the CFP and have a chance to beat SMU in the 4th quarter of a football game where we didn't have 3 of our best players. And all that happened. And so our belief and what Coach Brennan has established as a football program here, which is really, really exciting, is we're going to develop kids, and next man's going to come up, and he's going to step in and perform his role. And through January, everybody kept asking, Coach, are you guys going to recruit in D lineman? Are you going to recruit in D lineman? You lost Tia, you lost Deshaun, you lost Mally. We haven't seen any big guys. We're plenty big. We've got a great development program, and what Coach Salavea is doing, and that I'm super excited about our front 7. They're violent. They're big and strong. We talked about it last year about having a great football team, and how can you tell the strength of a football team? How many kids on your team could power clean 300 pounds? Last year on March 26th, we had 19. And by June 26th, which is our last power clean date, we ended up with 46. We had 34 on March 28th, and we had 19 of them that were within 10 pounds of power clean 300. So we'll end up with 60 by the time we get to July. That's going to be the strongest damn team in the history of Arizona, which is fantastic, okay? Statistically, we did some things that were really cool on defense. The most turnovers in school history. Second most turnovers in school history. 33 was the record. We ended up with 31. Most interceptions in school history by a secondary. Led the nation in turnover margin, which is the biggest stat behind points. That's why we were 9-4. We didn't turn the ball over, and we took it away. And so what's the hardest thing to do? Hardest thing to do now is to replicate that, because last year when you walked into August, every school that had Arizona on their schedule had a W written over it. They won't now. But the other side of that is they're not going to be shocked when we show up and we have a good football team. So the season is 146 days away, and I can't wait because Casino del Sol on September 5th, there should be a ton of people in there. Now, if there's not for the first game, when we come back against Northern Illinois 2 weeks later after the BYU game, it should be sold out. If people are excited. And we only get 6 guaranteed opportunities in the fall. And the deadline for season tickets is May 1st. And if you want to do your part, everybody talks about the day of NIL and rev share and all that stuff. The biggest support we can get right now is renew your season tickets or become a new season ticket holder. And the deadline to renew is May. It looks infomercial. Is May 1st. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and ask questions. Let's fire away.
Thank you, Coach.
Where were we at there, Coach Shear?
Yeah.
That was easy. See?
Justin and Ryan.
Well, and you brought up the defensive line. What gave you the confidence that the guys that were coming back, were going to be able to be successful and you didn't really have to look into the portal?
So we took one defensive lineman that we believe can play in the interior. His name is Kevin Moore. He will be here in about 4 weeks. Trey Smith coming back. If Trey doesn't come back, we would have probably looked for a D lineman that can play a 3, a 5, or a 9 with some experience. So he was our portal piece with the ability. And when he hurt his shoulder, I'm a big believer that God's plans are greater than ours. And I had a great talk with Trey and said, look, I've already talked to Christian. You have another year. So I think the best thing for you to do is to rehab it. You've never had an off season in 5 years of football. So let's fix it right now and have the opportunity to play on Team 123. And your ability to train and have another year under your belt with Coach Savea would be friggin' instrumental for you and for us. So didn't need that piece. Leroy Palu is going to be one of the best nose guards in the Big 12. And if we had another Waldrop, we could do some unbelievable things. Leroy will be in that conversation. I think he has the ability to do that. Mays Pesse played as a true freshman. Mays Pesse is up to 295 pounds. He's one that power cleans over 350 pounds. And he's a violent, twitchy, strong, really good football player. Prince Williams, who will be very much like Mays Pesse, will give us added depth in those spots. Okay? Julian Savanea is getting better and better and better. And last year I sat up here and I thought the most improved football player in our program was Tyler Powell. And I can't wait to see the Tyler Powell after he finishes his recovery and we get to fall camp, because I think he's going to have a big year. But Dom Lalesio is the most improved football player on our team, and it ain't even close. And so we've got some pieces there, and I haven't even mentioned yet Ezra Funa. Zach Cialepa weighed in at 368 pounds this morning. His transformation has been fantastic, and solely because he finally made a choice that he wanted to do it. Ezra will give us some Leroy, and he's got some twitch like Deshaun McKnight. I'm not sure if he's as fast top end speed. We've got 6 kids in the D line that can hit 19 to 20 miles an hour, which is unfreaking believable. We got Zach Cialepa at 368, who can still hit 18 miles an hour on the GPS. His first step has gotten just outstanding with his weight loss. Part of that is because he's significantly stronger than he was. It's not Ozempic, it's not starving himself, it's the young man decided and works his freaking tail off every single morning and then comes back in the afternoon and he's followed. Tara has done a fantastic job in our nutrition program. And then he actually moved in with Julian, and Julian has done a great job of holding Zach accountable. But it doesn't matter if Zach doesn't want to do it. And so he made the choice. Porter Patton. Porter Patton is going to be like one of those D linemen that you see from Utah. That's 6'7", 280 pounds. He's still got some learning to go because the game's still a little bit fast. He got here in late summer last year, so he's almost like a mid-year kid. The weight room piece of that is fantastic. And then Keatron Harris. Keatron Harris is going to be a Trey Smith version. And Trey has been unbelievable for all these freshmen. by the way. Victor Johnson hit 21 miles an hour on the GPS on Tuesday's practice. Just got here a couple weeks ago and is doing some really good things. Will give us another piece of added depth. And then you've got pieces like Everett and Rousseau and Chase and Cooper, who can play down on the line of scrimmage, who can play off the line of scrimmage. We can make them a 3 technique by blitzing them through the B gap like we do oftentimes. So we have a ton of depth in the front 7. We have 4 or 5 guys that are 300 pounds, but those 300 pounders can move, which in the Big 12, you better be physical up front. And we saw what happened. We had with 11-14 to go in the fourth quarter against BYU. We had a 10-point lead. And if we close that game out, we have a chance to play for the CFP against Texas Tech in Arlington. We screwed it up. And they hear about it every single day. And so those pieces, I thought they were good enough.
Brian and Jason.
After what you accomplished last year and meeting a lot of your goals, but maybe not all of them, where do you go from here as far as people saw the results you do? Is it a matter of you have to be better than that, or maintaining that is what you're looking for?
I've never finished number 1 in the country in total defense in my career. We were second in the country going into the last game of the season in 2016 against Colorado State. We already knew we were playing in the conference championship, and we didn't do a good job of preparing our kids that night and got boat raced by Colorado State. Wyoming got boat. We had played Wyoming the week before. We knew we were playing them again in the championship. It was a physical football game. We ended up beating them in the championship game, but we finished 5th in the country in total defense because we didn't perform well that night. We talked about last year when we beat top 15. We finished 13th in the country in yards per play, 19th in yards per game. We finished number 1 in the country in pass efficiency defense, number 5 in the country in passing yards attempted, number 7 in the country passing yards allowed. We want to be number 1. We want to be top 10 in all those categories. We want to continue to take the ball away, create turnovers, but where we screwed up last year and we weren't good enough was on run defense. The 2 games that we allowed people to run the football, we lost. They've heard that every day this fall, off season too. We didn't play well enough against BYU and Houston, and that's why we didn't have a chance to play in the conference championship game. And so don't let people run the ball. We talked about it. Everybody was concerned about Jeff Sims running quarterback power last week against Arizona State. He had 1 run for 27 yards. And that run pisses me off because I was going to have a thing down here to show you how we screwed that up too, but we'll do that another day.
Jason and Justin.
How much creativity does the depth up front allow you to have this season maybe compared to last?
The fun thing about what we'll do as we get to the end of spring ball is all 5 of the coaches on defense, the full-timers and then the 4 analysts, we will go and we'll put our top 22 football players, not by position, just by who we think is the absolute best to who is 22nd. So we can come up with our 2 deep. And then from that point, we'll decide what we can do schematically that gives people trouble and what we can do to fit our best players and get our best 11 on the field. And that's super fun. And we did it last year, so we knew we had an opportunity to have a package where we have 2 D linemen in there, 4 linebackers, and then the 5 secondary guys. Because we knew we had 5 very elite. And it's easier, like when they did the dime package and the dollar package in 2023, those were the best football players they had on the team. And so Coach Aquina and Coach Nansen did a fantastic job of creating packages where the kids could learn it and they could execute it. That was very similar to what we did with the 2 D linemen and 4 linebackers last year when we lost Tia and we lost Trey and Deshaun couldn't play in the last 2 games because of his foot. We came up, and then we lose Myron. We came up with ways that the offense has no idea what we're doing. We came up with the Red Rover series, all those things. So that stuff is fun as heck in this part of the year. And we don't have to play any games, so we can go out there and do whatever we want and see what works and throw it at the board and see what sticks and see what our guys can do. So the multiplicity piece is even going to be greater than last year. But the worst thing you can do as a coach is do so much stuff that your kids are so screwed up that they can't play fast. Because if we're violent and we play fast, we have a great chance to be successful. And so it doesn't matter if I sit back there like a mad scientist all day, which I sit in my office all day long and do nothing but draw and watch. And I mean, it's fantastic. It's like the greatest thing in the world. I don't have to deal with the stuff that Brennan has to deal with. I just sit back there, and people come in my office and think I'm absolutely nuts. And it is so fun. And then when it's time to go, I get to go home, and I live a half a mile from here now, so I can, if my wife walks over here and my kids, or I can walk over there, and we're in the middle of building a swimming pool. We got all kinds of stuff going on at this place because we want to be here for a long-ass time. But we have the option. I got off on a soapbox. We have the opportunity to be multiple if we don't screw them up. And I can promise you that we won't. We'll be able to play fast and violent. And we have pieces like, I mean, Gavin Hunter has had, I mean, the way he played in the first 2 games of last year and the maturity that he handled, Traden Stukes coming back and stepping in and Gavin fading to the back on defense, but being able to play and play at a high level against SMU and come out now and dominate in the spring. Gavin's going to be an elite defensive back, and he will leave a legacy here very similar to what those 3 just left. I can't wait for the next 2 years with Gavin Hunter. I mean, I'm super excited. With the pieces, we're young in the secondary. I mean, Tyrese Boss has 3 years. Dwight Boodle has 2 years. Dalen Austin has 2 years. Zuri Watson has 3 years. Zaire Heiler has 4 years. I mean, the only guy we're going to lose next year, we'll lose Malcolm. We'll lose Boog, who's going to be the best corner. Javion Cole is the best corner in the Big 12, and I will put that on against anybody. I can't wait to see him play next year. So we have to replace those 2. But Matai moving from linebacker to safety has been fantastic. And then Quinn Olson, I have a great challenge to Quinn because if Quinn was a really good option and spread offensive quarterback in Iowa in high school. If he'll tackle some people, Quinn has range similar to Jen as far as how he can run and the ground he can cover. We got 2 pieces right there between Matai and Jen. And then we haven't even seen Cam Chappa yet because he's doing some recovery stuff. So we're so young in the secondary. It's super exciting. They're uber talented. We've got I mean, nobody knew how fast we were last year until these guys started running these crazy numbers at the combine. We have just as much speed or more in the secondary right now. We just got to teach them what to do. And we've got 2 of the best defensive back coaches in the country to do it. So it'll be fun.
The big 3, they were, I mean, we've heard them being like the heartbeat of the defense. With that being said, going into this year, who are some guys that have stepped up as leaders of that group?
Trey had a big voice last year, but when he got hurt, that voice disappears because it doesn't matter how good of a player you are if you're not playing, or how good of a person you are, or your leadership skills. If you're not a player, it doesn't matter. So you have to be a player. Guys that don't play can lead from the side in certain things, but when it comes down to actually winning games, that guy better be on the field. And so Trey has done a phenomenal job in a short time. Gavin has been just so good in the secondary, leading that way. Quinn Olson has been great with how to do it, and not necessarily vocally, but, I mean, he's made 4 or 5 interceptions in spring practice so far that have been a really pleasant surprise. And in the middle of our defenses, which is probably the most important because the way we signal, the way I can call things in from the microphone to Tay and Chase, those 2 have really stepped up in an elite manner. Tay Brown is one of the best linebackers in the Big 12, if not the best. And I have tried my tail off to out-recruit him. And I can't. And that is fantastic. Because when you watch Tay Brown and all the other stuff, the broad jump, the long jump, the high jump, the vertical, all this stuff, it's okay. It's not bad. I tell him it's bad all the time, but it's not bad. But it's not what Traden and Dalton were doing. But statistically on game day, he's just like Dalton. He makes every play. He's in the right spot. He's second on our team in tackles. He'll probably lead our team in tackles or be in the top 3 this year. He'll be in the top 5 in the Big 12. And if we can stay healthy, we'll have all those great things that we had last year. So those voices, and they did a great job. Now, last year at this time, we were having to convince them, and I was having to convince them to believe in me. I promise you, the stuff that we do is going to work if we have enough talent and you play hard. Now I don't have to convince them to believe in me. Now they believe in me. So the older guys are forcing the younger guys and the new guys within the program, this is how we do it. This is the only way it works. And if you don't want to do it that way, then get the hell out of here. And that's kind of across the board in our program. And so that's how you maintain and take a step forward. But I like I said with Coach Shear's question, I want to be the best defense in the country. And that's the challenge to our football team. Now there's nowhere to go from there. So if you have enough pieces and enough talent and they play hard, why not? And then guess what? We'll have a chance to play in the CFP and do all those fun things that everybody in the city of Tucson wants to do.
We have time for one more if everyone does something. You guys good? Thank you.
The last thing before you cut me off, okay? April 28th is Kids of Steel. It's an opportunity for kids that they can do a football camp that are, it's been going on here for a while, and it is a fantastic camp. And then on May 5th, we have our camp it's called Extraordinary Cats. And it's anybody with an individual can come out, and we have a great opportunity. The best part of that camp is our kids do a phenomenal job of what I've explained to them is most of these kids don't have the opportunity they won't have the opportunity, and not all of them, most of them won't have the opportunity to play Division I sports. Most of them won't have the opportunity to play in Casino del Sol Stadium in front of 50,000 people. So it's your job to create a Saturday in the fall on May 5th for those kids. And last year, it was absolutely fantastic. We had 62. Hopefully this year we have 100. And it's an individual, it's a disability of any kind. There is no age restriction. Come on out, and we're going to do football drills. All sports on campus are invited to come. And, we just had the wheelchair basketball national championships with an unbelievable program. We've got the SALT program at the University of Arizona for kids with disabilities and learning disabilities. That is absolutely fantastic, and one of the greatest programs in the entire country. And so the opportunity, obviously, my daughter, Abby, has Down syndrome. My 13-year-old Chloe has type 1 diabetes. The opportunities that she gets, when she walks in and Noah Fafita sees my girls, he's like the greatest human being in the world. He goes, it does not matter what he's doing, he'll stop it. Last year it was take Abby around. But he gives that same attention to every single person in that camp. And then our kids last year had no idea what that camp involved. And so I think it was better for our football team. And they had as much or more fun than the individuals that got to participate in the camp. And so it's a great blessing. One, Coach Brennan allowed us to continue this camp because I promised my wife at San Diego State, if I ever had the opportunity to be a head coach, we would start a camp. And we started it in New Mexico. It was 100% her idea. And Ed McCaffrey and Christian McCaffrey started a camp for football kids that lasted a week for kids with Down syndrome. And she saw it, and she's like, this would be awesome. And Coach B, I asked him if we could do it, and he was like, hell yes, we can do it. So between the Kids of Steel and our Extraordinary Cats Camp, it's two of the greatest things that the University of Arizona football program does. We've got a great opportunity to give those kids their Saturday in the fall. And so anybody who wants to be involved, it's May 5th. It's at 6 p.m. We do it in the indoor. It is absolutely fantastic. So buy your season tickets. Deadline is May 1st. Either renew them or get new ones. Let's fill up Casino del Sol Stadium, okay? If you want to help, show up to the games. That's the best way to help, because in the world of revenue share and NIL and having a great basketball program, having a great football program, and the commitment that Desiree has made, I talked about it last year, continuity is the greatest way to build a football program. We have a head coach, you have a defense coordinator, an offensive coordinator, a special teams coordinator that want to be in Tucson, that want to represent the 520 in everything they do. And then you had an opportunity for Alonzo Carter to go be a head football coach at the FBS level. And then Caleb Moore goes to Portland State to be an assistant. You got some young assistants to have opportunities. When people are coming to steal your coaches, it means you're doing the right thing. And when you have a leader like Brent Brennan, and you have the administration with Desiree that has a total commitment to football, you can build something really special. And Brent Brennan is going to build a monster in Tucson because of the support he has from President Garamella, from Desiree. And Desiree has been phenomenal in what she's done for our football program. And I can't wait to put a team out there in the fall with Seth on the other side, year 2, of all of our kids hearing the same voices and hearing the same message from the top down. Telling the city of Tucson, Let's fill up Casino del Sol Stadium. Make it just like McHale. Make it the greatest place to play a football game, because on November 6th, when we play TCU on a Friday night, after we just played Texas Tech in Lubbock on Halloween, it ought to be the hardest ticket to buy in the history of the city of Tucson. There's only 6 of them in the fall. And I promise you this, you're going to have guys that go out there and compete their tails off and have a chance to compete for a conference championship just like we did last year. We got to keep number 1 healthy. And Coach Oglesby is the right man to do it. Once again, everybody in the country tried to steal Coach Oglesby, and he chose Arizona. You've got a bunch of people that have chosen to stay at the University of Arizona, to live in Tucson, to build a monster. And Coach Brennan is in the process of doing that. So let's have some fun. I appreciate y'all. Bear down.
Thanks, guys.